Being tagged in this one a fair few times asking what the liability outcome would have been if the vehicles had collided. Neither driver is covering themselves in glory here, but where would the liability rest? My gut instinct is that the car that's pulled from the junction would probably take full responsibility, but there is a potential for split liability, with the majority of it still being apportioned against the car exiting the junction, and that's because vehicles that are on the major road have priority over them regardless. Before we get into it fully, if you'd like to send me your own video clips, do head to the website that's linked on my profile page, and you might as well drop a follow whilst you're at it. So in the video, we see the cyclist proceeding along the road, correctly positioned close to the near side curb. A car is overtaking the cyclist on the chevrons, which are not bordered by a solid centre line, and signals left when they move back into the default lane position. A car up ahead exits a minor road into the path of the vehicle that's indicating on the major road, and they narrowly avoid a collision. One key piece of information here would be to find out whether the car that exited the minor road did so because they didn't see the overtaken car or because they relied on the signal. If it's the case that they say that they didn't see the car because it was passing the cyclist when they made their decision to exit the minor road, that shows that their checks to see if it was safe and clear to exit the junction were not thorough enough, and suggests that they would be completely at fault. If they say their reasoning for exiting the junction was due to the signal on the overtaken car, then this does open the door to a potential split liability outcome, but I still think that there would be an argument for full liability in this case. Ultimately, the cyclist was there to be seen, and so was the car that was overtaking them. They would have been perfectly visible to the car that was waiting at the junction. The car at the junction should not be relying on signal alone. If that was the reason that they decided to proceed onto the major road, because it's foreseeable that even though you don't need to signal to finish an overtake, some people might signal left to return to the default road position. If you remove the cyclist from the equation completely and bring it down to misleading signal versus exiting a junction, the most common precedent here is 1/3, 2/3 in favour of the car with the misleading signal. And that's because you should never be relying on signal alone. You should be looking at the car's speed and positioning to determine if it's safe and appropriate to join the road that you want to join. In this situation, with the car having just passed a cyclist, it is fair to assume that some, although they shouldn't, may indicate when moving back to the default road position. And I think that would likely be good enough argument to hold the car exiting the junction completely responsible. If not, then the likely outcome would be 1/3, 2/3 in favour of the car on the major road with the misleading signal. Lovely jubbly, sound as a pound.